This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and we're so excited today that we've got with us Amy Neumann. She's the author of Empower Your Nonprofit. It's a great book that includes great insights for using artificial intelligence to help nonprofits become more effective. So this is going to be a great conversation. Stick around. You don't want to miss it. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Devin, for having me.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. So, Amy, why did you decide to write this book?
Fabulous question. I've been in the tech space for 30 years, and I haven't seen anything more exciting and world-changing so far than AI. I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for people that weren't possible before to change the world. And since changing the world is one of my favorite things, I decided to take some of this knowledge, talk to some amazing people in the field like yourself, and really share with people how this could make their life a little bit easier and help them get their mission work done faster.
Well, this is, I think, just a vital theme. You know, I was doing some AI training, quite honestly, at church on Sunday. And
Love it.
You know, I was really surprised that in this group, I think there were 15 people in the room, 2 besides me, 3, I guess, counting my wife. She was there co-teaching with me. 3 out of 15 had used AI at all. At least, you know, like ChatGPT or one, knowingly. And I thought, holy cow, we're leaving people behind. Is it your experience that some nonprofits, there's a real phobia, and part of that is justified, right? People are afraid about AI is somehow going to ruin the world. And so they have almost a moral objection to it, right? But is it your experience that some nonprofits are reluctant to use it? I worry that that's the case.
I think it's becoming less so by the day. So I always ask people a few questions when I'm talking to them about AI training of any type. And I've noticed that more recently, people are a little bit more comfortable with the idea of AI, although there's still always the holdouts. But I like to think that typically after they learn a little bit more about it and see how easy it is to use, how much they can accomplish, how simple it is to achieve things they didn't know were possible, inevitably 1 or 2 or 3 of the holdouts that raised their hand at the beginning that weren't fans come up and say those types of things. They say, wow, I'm really going to try that. If I would have known fill in the blank, I would have started using it sooner. And I've also found that if I have a chance to follow up with those people again, which I have in a few different scenarios, they turn into the champions within their organization. So that's another reason I think it's so important to have a resource like my book or other resources like your show, where people can learn a little something, apply it, get excited about it, and share it with other people who then try it, get excited about it. So the numbers are going up, but they're not as high as I would like yet, but coming along rapidly.
What's your favorite example for how nonprofits can use AI to help them grow faster?
I think that depends on what area of a nonprofit you're in, but I'll give you one example that is helpful for almost everybody, and that's sort of synthesizing a bunch of data. For example, let's say that your nonprofit's been around for 10 years. You have a series of, Form 990s and your annual report or other impact documents. You can sort of upload all those things as long as you are on a private network. If it is any private information, If it's already public, it doesn't matter, like an annual report or Form 990. And you can upload years and years of those and then condense it into something like a one-page handout, or work on creating an infographic to go with it, or deliver an executive summary for a major donor or a funder or a board of directors. And that's helpful to I think, for people to have just top of mind as well, because anytime you're having a conversation, it's nice to know, yeah, in the past 10 years or 5 years, here's the things we accomplished, here's the impact we created, here's the way we changed the world as an organization, because that's really what everything is about. It's never about the technology itself or the programs themselves. It's about how is what we're doing impacting the world in a positive way. And the easier it is for you to talk about that with, from a marketing standpoint, or to a board of directors or funders, donors, volunteers, the more of that impact you can create faster.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. I just get, giddy with excitement thinking about some of this stuff. What are some of the favorite tools you see that have particular application in the nonprofit world? And let me answer that question, and I'll talk. I just want to keep asking, but give us some insight there.
Yeah, I'll answer it two ways. I think that as you probably already know, and a lot of people are aware, all of this is being integrated into a lot of tools people are using already. So you're probably using a lot of AI, even if you don't go out of your way to seek an AI tool at this point. I think by next year, something like 85% of all software will be integrated with some sort of AI that's available. So, but that said, I think what you're really asking right now is, of course, what generative AI tools that are sort of new and shiny and fun are some favorites. And probably aside from ChatGPT for a lot of basic stuff, Claude for long form content, and Perplexity for research. I like a lot. I'm an artist as well, so I really like some of the AI art creation tools like Midjourney or Dolly or Flux. But one of my favorites is something called Poe, like Edgar Allan, Poe.com. And it's a dashboard of dozens of different bots that you can use. So you can go back and forth, and you can even you can put something into ChatGPT or Gemini and then ask for second and third opinions just with the push of a button at the bottom of the response. That's one of my favorite tools, just because, like humans, I feel like they all answer questions slightly differently and have slightly different personalities. So sometimes it's interesting to see what is very similar with the responses, what's a little different, and then how you can synthesize that. Because it is important to co-create with AI and not just take everything at face value and cut and paste it. You want to really put your 2 cents in and your creativity in it as well. So I really like Poe.com because I think people aren't as familiar with that. And the dashboard is convenient because you can make a couple images over here, do some research over here, do some writing over here. And it's just very efficient.
That's great. That's great. One of the things that comes to mind is that the reality that AI makes mistakes, and a lot is made of the fact that AI makes mistakes, and you can't deny it. It seems to me that humans make mistakes. Experts make mistakes, right? And to put this into some perspective, I recently saw a study, ChatGPT passed the bar, right? That's pretty amazing, right? ChatGPT was recently challenged to diagnose diseases against doctors. Mm-hmm. And ChatGPT crushed the doctors. It even crushed the doctors who were told to use ChatGPT to help them with their diagnosis. Now, I think that was probably because they frankly didn't know how to use ChatGPT well and didn't use it well. obviously, I think if you really combined their expertise with ChatGPT, you'd get the best outcomes. But how do you think about this fact that AI makes mistakes? How do you manage that? You alluded to that in your comments a minute ago. What do we do? How do we approach that?
That's a great point. I agree. Humans make mistakes. Somebody asked me one time, they didn't like the idea of self-driving cars because they felt like it would be more dangerous than humans. And those types of terms where you have emotional response to data is very human. But the fact of the matter is those self-driving cars have billions of data points over millions of hours, and they can see patterns in ways that we can't. So they are better overall at driving than humans by a wide margin. However, if something goes wrong because the expectations are so high for AI to be perfect, you do hear about it, and it is tragic, as anything that goes wrong is. The point is, though, that what you want to always do, in my opinion, is use the best of both worlds. So over here you have humans that are really good at certain things, and over here you have AI that's really good at certain things, like data processing, being able to see patterns in radiology results, for example, that even the best person with 10,000 hours of experience has only seen 10,000 hours of experience worth, not a million or a billion hours worth of imaging, right? So as long as you keep in mind that you want to double check everything that comes back right now, as far as links or just click through to make sure that it's going to where it says. I think that was a problem before that is it's pretty effectively alleviated now. But again, you also want to put the human spin on it. So what I don't think is a good idea as far as being able to avoid mistakes or even to be accurate is just to take at face value something AI says without co-creating with it. In other words, humans are great with a few things: interacting with other humans, being compassionate, being empathetic, showing kindness, making strategic decisions, being able to maybe read more context based off of certain factors than just data points. So you want to take that lens and look at things with that as well. So not just factual accuracy, but you want to make sure that if you're trying to have a certain kind of communication, that you look at it and you say, yeah, that sounds like how I would say it if I was writing it myself or reading it myself, or speaking to someone in a video creating a video myself without using AI. So I think it's not just the factual accuracy, but it's more so adding the human co-creation element. But AI is very good at processing data points for the most part and seeing patterns much more so than humans.
Excellent. But great conversation. I'm so grateful you take the time. I want to. We've got to take a pause here, Amy.
Sure.
So, folks, here I'm here with Amy Neumann. She is the author of Empower Your Nonprofit, a remarkable, great book about using AI in the nonprofit world. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk to Amy about her superpower. You don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding. The book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
Ready to take your small business to the next level? Honeycomb Credit empowers diverse entrepreneurs by connecting you with community-driven funding. Build customer relationships, amplify your brand, and grow with those who believe in you. Honeycomb Credit, where your community invests in you.
Scan the QR code to start today.
Join the Impact Crowdfunding movement. Get Superpowers for Good, your free daily newsletter with exclusive video replays, a podcast, and the latest investment opportunities open to everyone. Join the super crowd. Scan now so you can learn to make money while you make a difference.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. We've got a remarkable guest. We've had such a fun conversation talking about with Amy Neumann about her book about using AI in the nonprofit sector. But we're going to shift gears with Amy. She's truly a remarkable human being. We're going to talk to her now about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. Amy, I just have tremendous admiration for you. And this book is so significant and so important. I appreciate you writing it, and I appreciate you being here. What is your superpower?
I think my superpower is translating technology into impact and action, because I guess I got obsessed early on with, I used to want to be a detective when I was little, of course, like probably a lot of people. And I got really obsessed early on. Every time new technology would come out, trying to figure out, how's this going to change the world? How could this change the world? Is there a way to crack the code and take whatever we're doing right now and make it change the world? And so I kind of got attuned to really thinking through, how can I inspire people to take this technology and turn it into action and impact? So I like to think that's my superpower, at least.
I think that's brilliant. That being able to take, move ideas into action, impact into action. It's so vitally important. And people are sometimes frozen, aren't they? Right? We get people who are
Right.
they hear about a new technology like AI and they're excited, but they don't know what to do. And you figure it out. You've made that into a superpower. That's great. I wonder if you could think of a specific example that you could share with us, kind of an anecdote that would illustrate how you've demonstrated this superpower in your life.
I use this personally as a lot of speed learning. So I'm starting a PhD in January about how AI is influencing human interaction and creativity. One of my favorite things about AI is that through the course of learning about this, and you don't have to know how AI works at all to use it. For example, I always tell people, I don't know how a car engine works, but I can get in any car and get from point A to point B. I don't know how electricity works, but if my goal is to make a room light, I know how to walk over and flip the switch. And that's all you need to do with AI. You don't need to know the ins and outs unless you're a little bit of a tech nerd like I am, and probably you are a little bit too. You want to know how it works, that's great. You can do that. But if you want to know about how almost anything works, I like AI because you can, I tell people it's a little bit like, it just gives you the final answer to something instead of a lot of clues along a path like doing internet search does. So it saves you a lot of time if you just want to cut to the chase and say, how does this work? It gives you exactly how something works with sources to go check yourself, rather than you trying to go explore over here on all these different resources. And I think if you, for example, say, give me 10 very credible research reports or white papers, or what does the United Nations say about this, or the World Economic Forum plus McKinsey, you can really streamline your information. You don't have to go seek it out. It will be brought to you, condensed, synthesized, and you can learn about something that would take normally hours and hours of research in a matter of minutes, or however long it takes you to read it when it comes back in a couple of seconds or minutes. This has been a force multiplier in my personal learning, and I'm already obsessed with learning. I probably read about 60 books a year, just finished a master's recently, working on a PhD. So to say that I love to learn about new things is probably an understatement, but anybody can do that so much faster and easier now with AI. And if you imagine what that does for a workforce or a job or a specific role in a nonprofit, or interacting better with clients or running programs better, impact measurement better, anything fill in the blank, I think exponential learning ability is my favorite superpower of AI.
Yeah, that really is cool. Love that story. Now, as we move on here, let's deal with the reality heads up, right? That people look at you and they say, Amy seems so approachable, but I hear what she's doing. She's just amazing. I can't be like her. I don't know how to do what she's doing. I want her superpower. How can I learn to do that? Can you give us some tips that would help us be more like Amy?
Absolutely. I always like to say that nobody was born a surgeon. Everybody has to learn how to do anything, right? So the best way to do it is just to start with one foot in front of the other. And I think AI is the most approachable type of learning that I have come across in a long time, and the most impactful. So really all you have to do is just start using something a little bit. It's super intuitive. Just take any of the most popular bots like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or whatever's your favorite, and just start asking a few questions. And within a matter of a few questions, you'll start to get an idea of it works a little better if I add a little bit more context to the question, like what am I trying, what's my goal with this? Who's the audience? Whatever you want to add to it. What do you want it delivered back as? But you don't have to start with everything all at once. Just start a little bit. In fact, some of the most power users that I know now, I sat down with and I said, I didn't direct them how to use it or anything. You don't need to know how to use it because it's very intuitive. I just said, what's one thing that you wish you could do faster and easier? And they say, fill in the blank, whatever it is. I said, okay, ask it how you could do that faster and easier. And usually the response is like, I can do that. I can just ask it whatever I want. And yeah, that's the thing. It's that intuitive. You can just say, give me 10 better ways to do X, Y, Z than how the average person does it, or just whatever is on your mind. All you have to do is ask in just a very human way, as if you're almost like you're talking to another person. It's that easy. So you don't have to have any background in any technical area to be able to start using it. And I think that is one of the, you kind of highlight one of the biggest misnomers, is that you really have to be technical to use it. I would say you have to have the least technical knowledge so far of most tools I've run across to use AI in general, because it's very intuitive and it's easy and it's meant to be like that. That's why it's caught on so much. Generative AI is just you and AI going back and forth, creating something, generating something that didn't exist before in a new way a lot of times, and just getting your questions answered. It's very simple, but the only way to prove that to yourself is to try it. So that's what I would recommend, is just go try it. You don't have to have technical knowledge.
Yeah, you say it's easier to use than some of those early technologies. And I remember the first time I sent a real email over the internet. I was in graduate school, right? And I was completely freaked out by the process. It was so hard to send an email out. At that point, we had an email system in the school, right? And so I would email my buddies and we'd send messages, and it was fun and cute, because there were 100 of us or whatever in the class that would trade messages. But I sent one to someone at another university, and it was so hard. And I remember thinking, I am never doing that again. That was so hard to send an email.
And you never sent an email since, right?
Right. I've never sent an email since. Right. It's so interesting. But yeah, ChatGPT, it's like, can you type in a question? And of course, it'll even listen to you now. And let you speak the question. Yeah. Yep. So it is the most approachable technology. Very cool. Well, listen, as we wrap up, Amy, I wonder if you would just take a minute here and tell people how they can connect with you and get a copy of your book. I want to make sure people are not mystified. I'll jump the gun a little bit and say there's a link on the screen here, s4g.biz/empower. We'll get you to the book, but how else can people get one?
Sure. You can go to empoweryournonprofit.org. And then another site that I worked on with a business associate called thriveinai.ai has not just my book as resources, but hundreds of other resources, probably thousands if you tally them all up, free courses you can start with of all levels, lists of tools categorized different ways. So I think the best thing to do is just really dive in and get started. I think you can find my book on Amazon. I would love to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. So however you get there, I'm excited that you'll get there. And I love this show for highlighting how easy it is to use AI for nonprofits.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Amy. We love what you're doing and wish you every success.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All righty, let's do some good.